It's where people gather around in a room, listen for a sound, hear our favorite tune. Come together with good friends, pretty women, cold beer, know right where to get it. Heard they got it here. Well, this is my kind of church, my kind of town, my kind of people. Y'all are easy to hang around. There ain't nothing I love better. I love it so much it hurts. These are my kind of people. This is my kind of church.
Howdy, guys. Greg Holle, the Greg Holle Show. We are back and ready to rock and roll after our little layoff, little siesta, little freeze we had in Fort Worth, would you? Nonetheless, going to get back with a bang. Got my good buddy Jack McDowell coming on here, 1993 Cy Young winner, 3-time All-Star. It's just be good stuff. I was we'll go into detail here shortly, but I'm fortunate to be able to bring guys on like Jack due to our sponsors, Highly Buick GMC and Subaru in Fort Worth, the #1 volume GMC dealer in North Texas. They prioritize providing the best experience and best pricing on all of their vehicles. Go on down, hit up Eric, hit up Brian, and the rest of the crew at Highly today. Mention the Greg Holle Show as it goes here. Okay, they got the new specials coming out at the beginning of the month, but all remaining 2020 Sierra, GMC Sierra pickups, $10,000 off while they last. Dr. Nikki Green at Fort Worth Cosmetic and Family Dentistry, where cosmetics are their specialty. Invisalign, whitening, veneers, and implants. Get on over, okay? They've been with us from the start with the Fort Worth Texans Baseball Club, the Greg Holle Show, you name it. They've been by our side. 817-653-8859 to set up a free consultation. If you're looking to cut corners, this isn't the place. If you're looking to for unmatched attention to detail, you got them. Dr. Leedy, Dr. McCulloch, Dr. Flossie, Dr. Green, they will get you set up. It's no surprise why they find themselves always at the top of the cosmetic dentistry practices in all of the nation year after year. Guys, touch on a little bit of fun here. You might as well get your blood boiling while we can before I bring in our guest. How about Dak Prescott? They're paying him $500 billion. Okay, they're going to give him all this stuff guaranteed after coming off of one of the most gruesome injuries that we've seen in a long time. It seems to be the Cowboys' MO. We got to find our Lord and Savior rather than finding someone who we can build around. Let's just throw all our money out there, and now you have, I think this year by itself, you'll have over $100 million just this year being paid to a running back and a quarterback. Running back who's been a little bit of a letdown, right? You're paying him for past performance, not what he's currently still doing. And Dak, he left on a cart and had a pretty serious surgery here. Nonetheless, that's not for me to worry about. It has no bearing on me. Take the money. Congrats, Dak. Winning a Super Bowl seems to be a little bit of a different angle here. All right, you got to have a supporting cast. Last I checked, Dak can't block for himself, and Zeke is trying to still figure out and get back to his stride. But, guys, very, 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 very fortunate. We got a good one, like I said today. 3-time MLB All-Star, 1993 Cy Young Award winner. This is the good one right here. I consider him to be a friend of mine, okay? We'll find out here shortly if that feeling's mutual, but racked up over 975 innings pitched in a 4-season stretch from 90 to 93 with 42 complete games. Okay. Those who don't follow baseball closely, that's absurd. It doesn't exist anymore. There's too much specialty. If we want to, if we want to refer to it as that, that type of longevity, durability, again, whether a guy could do it or not, you'll never know because they won't give him the opportunity to do so. 20-plus game winner 2 times. Man, it's 1:00 here on a Wednesday in Fort Worth, Texas. Might as well get this party rocking and rolling. Please welcome 12-year Major League Baseball veteran Jack McDowell, the Greg Holle Show. My man, we're back. You were in Fort Worth not long ago, and now you're sitting here in front of an absolutely just breathtaking mural as your background.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Not much, dude. Just fired up to have you. What I want to do, hit the ground running here. You've been around it for a long time, obviously, and then you had your time with the Dodgers on the player development side. You began a program at Queen's University, which I want to let you elaborate on a little bit, because our first little title or grouping here, I really want to touch on developing players, but just talk about. I'm gonna let you're the guest, you steal the show. Talk about the difference that you've noticed between starting a program at the ground level, the grassroots level, with everything that you were doing in comparison to the playing side for you, and also, you just a couple of years ago coming off of, managing a team in a major league organization.
The college thing seemed like it was going to be a fun thing and seemed like it was going to be good, man. The bottom line is I'm a hard worker. I do whatever it takes to get things done. And starting a program, number one, without a field, we had to go find a field that we could play on for a couple of years and practice on before we actually got the field done, which was last year. And the minute we got to start playing on that, here comes COVID and they crush us out of there. But what I had to do during that was crazy, because there was a high school that stopped being a high school. So they had a high school baseball field sitting there, and it had basically sat there for a couple of years, literally looked like the woods when you went out there. And I had to get it ready to play and then keep that up the whole time. So the work, it's a single guy just doing work on a baseball field, and on top of that, I also had to do their softball field, and all the stuff in between was part of the deal that I signed to be able to use that for our practice field. So just a lot of field work. I love field work. I love doing it. I've studied it for a long time. I mean, I played with the White Sox for a number of years. Roger Bossard, probably the number one field guy in the universe. And so I always, learned a lot from him, watched a lot from him. If I've got questions, I'll ask him, what's the best way to do this? What's the best way to do that? And so there's a lot of work. It's just like, I never really got down to the point where I was just able to coach the team.
Man, and it seems like that's kind of just a common theme when you're getting involved with running starting it up is a completely different animal with everything that you were having to do. But what a lot of people forget, we're going to go, and it's not this massive Big 12 SEC type funded where there's that type of financial backing. All the legwork that you're talking about is done. So now you're going, I got to focus on finding players, developing players, making sure we're out there getting the most out of our guys. Oh, wait, but I got to wear 15 different hats along the way.
Yeah, very true. And the crazy part about it was when they first announced we were going to do the program, it was in March. I think it was March 1st of the first year. And so, hey, let's go and think about that for a while. We're pretty much almost done with everyone's senior year. If you aren't signed already and don't know where you're going to school, then I had a chance to go get you. That was about it. Most of the people had already committed and signed to go play somewhere. So I had to put together a team at the end of a season, so that was difficult. We got some good people in there, some decent players in there during that, and, just building from there. But then on top of that, add to it that we were by far the most expensive school to go to in the league. So, that makes it kind of tough too, to get out there and, especially when you only have 9 full scholarships, trying to bring in 40 guys on 9 scholarships.
Well, yeah, 9 scholarships, no set field at the time. All the stuff that these other programs use as a bonus or a selling feature, y'all don't have. Hey guys, we're gonna have this. I'm gonna get this going. We got some guys around you. You being obviously the one steering the ship here that can help you out from a playing just experience and all the stuff that we're going to do baseball related, but all the bells and whistles or the perks here, you're going to have to close your eyes and use your imagination here for a little bit, because the fact of the matter is it's just not there in its present time.
Yeah, very true.
Hey, how much different would you say let's go from there. Obviously, we're not even going to compare the college to the professional side, just because having gone through, they're not the same animal whatsoever. But how much freedom? I never got to ask you this. How much freedom did the Dodgers organization, for example, did they allow you as far as what you wanted to do day to day, any sort of lineup stuff? It just was a lot of it dictated, or was there a sense of freedom where you could be you?
The first year I was there, complete freedom pretty much. They, as guys come in, they tell you, hey, we'd like to see this guy at this position or this position, things like that. And then the second year when the metrics dudes took it over, the Tampa guys came in and took over the Dodgers, that's when it became a little more dictator-ish, which it is. And that's what frustrates all the players and what got everybody fired. They fired about 95% of the people that were in that coaching and scouting in that organization at that time, so they could bring in all of their basically their puppets.
Right. Well, because I know we've you and I have talked extensively about some of the stuff in the past with how you feel about the analytics, how you feel this, that. I get all that, and we could go and we could beat a dead horse with it. I think everyone would agree, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. Everyone would agree it has its place to an extent, but what it can't do is totally replace any sort of passing the eye test, what you know about a player, their makeup, all the things that can't be measured. But when you go in and totally discredit it, and like you're talking about, you have the regime change, and now all of a sudden everyone gets wiped out. That's one of those things where now all of a sudden you're getting people that are so dead against it and so for it, which when you just open your eyes and walk out in public, it seems like it's just what society is today. Is that, do you feel there's a place for it?
I mean, there's a place for it in long-term, trying to maybe scout a guy, draft a guy, see what kind of stuff. It does not work in a game-to-game situation, projecting how the game's going to work. Projecting how a game is supposed to play out is the stupidest thing that they're doing with these analytics. It's ridiculous. Baseball is about a pitch-to-pitch adjustment at every single position. It's pitch to pitch. What happened the last pitch? What's going to happen the next pitch? As a hitter, hey, did I just took that? What's he coming back with? Is thinking about this. As a pitcher, hey, I'd like to throw this, but I'm not feeling good with it today, but they've got everybody shifted, and so I have to do it, but I'm not throwing it good. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Not baseball. It's like they're playing a video game and they're playing it incorrectly.
Yeah, right. And the only problem is you're dealing with humans who, like you said, of everything you said right there, and I think it's really, really, really a plus to be driven home is the confidence element. Oh, it's saying to throw this. It feels like crap today. I have no feel for it. It's not one of your better. So I'm going to go and I'm going to pitch to a weakness or pitch to something that's going to get me in a hole because this is being printed out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember that second year with the Dodgers, and I knew the analytics dudes were coming in. I studied it all, studied what they were doing with it. And, I ended up with more questions than I got answers, because why not? If it was something that's actually going to help you and be a positive thing and help you win games and help you be a better coach and a better manager and all that, why wouldn't I go study it and check it out? But as I studied all this stuff they were throwing in and working, I was going, yeah, but how about this, and this for that thing? How about this, and this, which are baseball things that affect that? And I would ask these questions and they would just walk away.
What answer do they give you there? Do they give you
questions? They didn't want any questions being asked because you were showing them up.
Was it a legit they'd walk away, or was it something, oh, hey, well, let us look into that. Would they give you some sort of shrug off at least?
A couple things that they actually did look up. I'll tell you about it in a little bit. But the one thing I asked them, I said, okay, you guys have the two top pitchers in the game right now when they had Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw.
Right.
And I said, now you're coming in are you telling them based on what you think is correct? Are you telling them how they should pitch these guys and how you're going to play defensively? Or are they telling you, hey, this is how I normally get this guy out. Here's what we should do. And he goes, no, we're telling them. And we're telling them, what the true way to get the guy out is. And this and that. And I was just like, okay, well, that shows me right there, you're wrong. You don't have a feel for baseball. You don't have an idea. You have a great pitcher. Great pitchers are great because they can adjust during a game. It's not like you walk out there and you're throwing every pitch exactly where you're going to throw it. If I could throw every pitch exactly where I wanted to throw it every single time, guess what? Nobody would get a hit.
No.
That's just not the way the game works.
But it also discredits the side that like you're saying, if we're sitting here and you're able to execute everything to a T, well, the guy in the batter's box, what's he? Is he he doesn't adjust. He doesn't change. He doesn't look for anything. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the chess match that you're referring to, that a computer, you can't print that. You can't print that out.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's same thing. It's not measurable. So it doesn't really exist in real time to them. Anything that's not numerically measurable is supposedly not true in baseball anymore. It's ridiculous. One of the funny things that I used to do was, I'm throwing batting practice to my guys every single day. And so I know who's hot and who's not, it doesn't matter based on, the last month of his numbers or what my projection is of what this guy's going to do. I can tell you who's going to do stuff. And I'd be able to go, hey, okay, you're going deep today. And sure enough, you'd hit a home run and the team would go, how do you do that all the time, coach? And I said, because I throw BP to you guys. I can tell who's online, who's on right now. You can tell. And it usually ends up on the field that way. It isn't long-term projection. It's what's going on right then, right now.
Oh, absolutely. And now piggyback and make a segue off of that. I'm going to touch on the youth stuff and, the lesson side later on. But as it pertains to players by themselves, you want to tie yourself in there or other former teammates of yours. How important do you think it is to allow players to be who they are? And what I mean by that, and obviously you're going to say very important. It's important, but if you've seen or noticed people that are too quick to begin changing swings, deliveries, mechanics, you name it.
Well, I think one of the big things about pitching, which is causing more injuries, is this changing mechanics. I think that, and I tell people all the time, there is no perfect, pure mechanic. There isn't. I mean, yeah, there's certain things you look and go, yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Here's what you want to do a little bit better. But you don't just change things based on what you think is the correct way to do it. Kids throw the way they throw. Some kids are going to end up 3/4. Some kids are going to end up high top. Some kids, that's just the way it is. That's the way they throw. Go watch how they throw from the infield. That is the way they throw. And that's one thing that I focus on doing lessons all the time too. The first time that I do a lesson with a guy for pitching, the one thing that I notice, I roll them ground balls and have them field a ground ball and like they're going to go throw a ground ball.
Right.
Well, how do you do that? Well, I do it to see where their natural separation of their hands is. Some people will field a ground ball, come right into their waist and separate and throw. And that's their timing mechanism. So now if they're pitching and they stop up here and you have this much farther to go, you're probably going to be a little late.
Right.
Because that's just not the natural thing. So you try to get them in the same position. So when they go lift, go, you're in that same position. When that foot hits, you're ready to throw, just like you fielded a ground ball. And so that's the type of stuff that, it's all individual. It's individual. And the hitting stuff that's going on right now cracks me up and makes me want to make a comeback. Launch angle. That is one of the things like I was talking about. It's a measurable thing. Cool. So you can say, hey, his launch angle on that swing was, 24 degrees and, 120 off the bat. Great. That was awesome. You don't teach that. It just happens.
Right.
You can't create a launch angle. If you try to create a launch angle, yeah, it'll happen 1 out of 20 times, but guess what? The other 19 you're going to be out because you're not staying through the baseball, you're not flat through it. How are you supposed to hit a down and away pitch and do these big round swings with a big finish? Doesn't happen that way. Sure, you're going to hit a belt high pitch, you can do that. The perfect pitch down the middle, otherwise known as T work.
Well, see, all right, you bring up all right, perfect. It was almost like I was baiting you, and I got you. All of those things work in a controlled environment. When I'm standing 15 feet from you, going front toss,
yeah,
centered up, you know exactly where it's going to be. And I'm gonna, I'll bounce around. Hell with it, I'll bounce around to it now. I was gonna wait. You got me. The big thing with lessons, big thing with anything you're doing. Hell, use BP for example on a professional level, and you stop me, tell me if I'm wrong. A huge piece of that is you're trying to gain confidence. You're not going to go in there, oh, hey, BP today. Let me go in and I'm going to try to saw you off, throw gas, changing speeds, so you're breaking stuff from 35 feet away, and you go and you get rounded shoulders walking back into the clubhouse, no confidence at all. But the big thing here is this. It's a couple things. You mentioned it delivery-wise. Unless these guys are brand new to the game, there's some reason why they're doing what they do. Right? It either feels natural, they've had some sort of success with it, whatever it ends up being. But for Jack to go over and say, hey, Greg, you got to do this, or you got to do this. I'm with you. The stuff just, it doesn't happen like that. If I threw from here and now all of a sudden I'll move over and I'm throwing low three. If it ends up being something that's natural and it's through trial and error, that's fine. But to say, hey, Jack, you got to do this. This is what this says. It doesn't make sense, because then guess what? Even if it works for a fastball, well, hell, you threw what? You feel like a fork ball or split, didn't you? And then break him up. A sidearm guy, those pitches don't translate. Your breaking ball, you're bigger 12-6 type breaking ball. Either. How do you throw that from out here? It doesn't work. So everything that I'm referring to here is no matter what ends up being, the stuff has to translate. If it doesn't play out and it's not something you can repeat when you're competing, it's worthless.
Yeah. It's the same thing individually and pitch to pitch. You're just trying to, you do your thing and you try to get it done. And, there is not just a single way to do everything. And that's all analytics is. It's a single way to do everything. This is what we do. We're going to do a shift on everybody. And these hitters, I'm just laughing. These hitters, they're saying, well, these guys are throwing so hard, they can't control their bats to just, hit the other way. I guarantee I could get up there right now. And if they were shifting on me, I could totally just slow motion my bat out there and hit a lazy ground ball right to the hole. It didn't even have to get out of the infield and you get on. And it's interesting because I've been doing it for like the last few weeks. This is kind of an interesting story too that I'm going to build on for a while.
Bring it.
My mother passed away a year ago in January. So we had to, the whole family, we had to get the house ready. We had to sell it. No one living there anymore. And so in doing all that, we found all of these VHS tapes that they had of my old games. And so I had to go find a VCR. I went and bought a VCR player on Craigslist, and I've been sitting here watching these games. Okay. And I've just been checking it out and all this. And one thing that I realized was what a joke the strike zone was back then. It was so darn small. It was ridiculous. And the saddest thing about it, and that was just American League. You go watch, and then we'd have to go in and watch TBS during the day and watch, the Braves play every day and watch them get pitches a foot outside, and we'd just be going nuts in the clubhouse having to watch that, and then go in and get nothing called for us. And I'm going to make a video of all these pitches that are a joke. I'm showing everybody now. I show them everybody at my lessons. I'm like, I know you're in Little League right now and you get frustrated at the umpires and they call this and I call that. Just listen. Never changes. And I show them all these things and they're like, oh my goodness, that is crazy. Just relax. Just do the best you can and all that. So.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's incredibly true. And we battle through it on our end is organizationally, right? You're dealing with stuff. We have guys with the lesson stuff starts even lower, but shoots all the way up. But when you get going, you can't change. You don't waver from strengths, right? Not saying you can't work on the other stuff, but like you're talking about, if you start going and I got to either pitch to a scouting report that doesn't play into to your strengths. Oh, this is so-and-so's weakness. Well, hell, if it's your weakness too, it kind of cancels itself out now, doesn't it?
Oh, I used to laugh, Charlie Huff having to sit in on the, going over the pregame thing on how we're supposed to pitch everybody. Like going, okay, Charlie Huff is the knuckleball pitcher, guys. Why does he have to be in here? Nothing to do with, in and out, up and down, and all that. He's going to throw his knuckleball.
Right.
He'd just laugh. He'd be in there going, yeah, this is great. I'm glad I'm in here doing all this stuff. The same thing, Yeah, all that stuff is great. But, sometimes you go out there and you don't have great command at one side of the plate for a couple innings. And so you got to make an adjustment and do things till you get that feel back again. But the funny thing I was going to tell you about the VHS tapes I was watching playing the Mariners during the season. I think it was either 92 or 91 season that I was watching, and they were down like 4-0 or 5-0, and there were 2 bunts to lead off the innings, 2 bunt base hits, perfect bunt base hits against me. And I'm going to have you guess, who were they? Who bunted? 2 bunted to lead off the innings to try to get a rally started from the Mariners of the 90s.
Is this one that should be blowing my mind here?
Yeah, I mean,
we'll use Griffey as one.
That was it. That was one.
All right, and then we'll go. Is that pre-A-Rod?
He came in a little bit later.
A little later. Let's see. We got not Edgar. He couldn't run himself out of sight.
Oh, but he made a perfect bunt.
Was it? There we go.
Both of them started off the inning, and I'm laughing, going, okay, 2 of the best hitters in the game. You wouldn't see that nowadays. Nowadays, they pull the shift, and you're down by 1 run in the 6th inning, and they do the shift, and yet you're not going to just bunt. You don't even have to have a good bunt with the shift.
Right.
You just bunt to one side of the field, and you're walking, and now you've started a rally. That's the way baseball works, but not anymore. No, I'm just going to try to hit a home run.
Or hit it through the shift. It's like playing in basketball. I'm just going to dribble through, just dribble through a trap, dribble through everything.
I don't understand. I have a feeling that it's going to start changing. At least they're starting to steal more bases now. They've realized that all those numbers are ridiculous. Stealing's bad because metrically, if it's not an 85% chance, then if you don't do it at 85 to 90%, then it's not worth it. No, that's not true, because it's worth it. And even if it's 50-50, you got to know who's hitting behind you, who's hitting, how's he doing now, how's he done in the game, how do you think he's going to match up against this pitcher with a guy on first base that I need to get second in case he jams himself and flares one. Now this guy gets to score. There's individual things that happen during a baseball game that are just thrown aside now because overall it needs to be this. And so, no, you're not going to let them steal. It just, God, they just don't understand the game.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this is another one. I could be way out and I haven't looked at the stuff recently, but isn't an incredible caught stealing rate by a catcher like in the 40s?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I don't follow that.
Yeah. I mean,
the caught stealing rate's 40%, but if you can't be safe 80, 90%, we shouldn't do it.
But yeah, because what they do is then they project. They go, okay, had he just been on first base, and they go back and look at how that inning would have gone with one more out. Okay. But what they do is they go with one more out. This guy who didn't get to hit during that inning, well, he probably would have got a hit. No, you don't just make stuff up. That is just that's like the whole WAR thing, the whole WAR statistic. It's
right.
made numbers. It's not true numbers. It's made up. It's projection.
Yep.
Oh, that's not a statistic. Projecting a statistic is not a real statistic. Yet that's the one everybody uses now. WAR. How many wins above over replacement? Wait a minute. Wins? You know how
that specific player is right.
You have no idea how the game would have gone. It doesn't work that way. Go ahead. I laugh in the facility I'm working in right now. They have the hit tracks, right? In one of the cages, and they have the high school kids in there working. I'm always over there talking and joking with them about stuff. And I'm like, hey, do they know if the wind's blowing in or not right now? And they all start cracking up. I'm like, on hit tracks ain't telling you if the wind's blowing. It's going to tell you hit it and it went 380 feet. So now, you ever play real baseball? You ever watch Wrigley Field?
Yeah, right. Hey, going here. I'm gonna bet. Okay, just going back, touching it on the run you had there, 90 to 93, 91, 93. I'm gonna go out here and bet that an overwhelming amount of the outings you didn't feel 110%. Is that relatively accurate?
Well, it's all adjustment. There's some games you go out there and everything seems to go your way, and it just happens. But in watching all these games, it kind of changes inning to inning sometimes. You start out and maybe you have a couple good innings and then you're scuffling for one and you're trying, sometimes you can't really figure it out for a while. Then you try to figure it out and you go, oh, okay, now I'm doing this. So let me try to get back to this. Maybe I'm throwing too many of these pitches. Maybe I'm overthrowing this. Maybe I'm doing that. It just changes.
But tell me this, and it leads me to it. How big, the point you just brought up, how much of that is just a full-on mentality that either doesn't exist now or is not allowed to exist just due to how quick the triggers are coming from above?
Yeah, it's you don't if you don't know whether the guy can adjust or not because you already have it. I mean, now it's like they know what the pitch count they're going to pull the guy now. It's like, okay, that is crazy. He's coming out after 87 pitches. That's the bottom line. That's what we're going to do, and that kind of makes no sense because anybody who's pitched knows that you can go out there and throw 150 pitches and wake up the next day and be ready to pitch again sometimes if you're going good. It has nothing to do with it. Sometimes you're just going to go good. Sometimes you aren't. The other teams, the hitters, are the ones that are supposed to let everybody know when it's time for you to get out of there.
Yeah. Hey, I said it when I first brought you on here. 40 from, I don't want to get it wrong here. Yeah, 90 to 93. What is it? 42 complete games. If I was going to throw money down, will that happen again over any starting pitcher's career for the foreseeable future unless something insanely drastic changes?
Well, I have a feeling that it's all coming to fruition a little bit and people are starting to figure stuff out and figure out that this is not the way that's smart. And I'm so glad the World Series kind of let everybody know last year.
Right.
Pull the guy who's throwing pretty good after 5 innings. It's like, no, the other team's supposed to let you know. And guess what? You lose. Not saying that they would have won, but they didn't give themselves a chance because of analytics. They knew how they were going to pull him before the game. So I think that people are going to start figuring it out and figuring out that this is not doing anything positive for the game. And we're really losing people that have a feel for the game, that can know adjustments, know their players, know the situations, and can really, see what's going to happen and what has a better chance of happening right now that hasn't been written out beforehand. And I have a feeling that might come back. So potentially, maybe down the road, obviously it's not going to be soon because it's this big pitch count thing from Little League on now, and so they don't let anybody build up any endurance to pitch.
Well, I pulled it up as I asked you that, just as my own little something I could check. It's probably pretty safe over the last however long. If you're looking at as far as innings, Justin Verlander is probably one of the guys that they've taken the reins off a little bit and kind of let him do his thing. So he's been in the league since 2005. We're in 2020. It's 16 years. He's got 26 complete games.
Yeah.
You had 42 in a 3-year stretch.
Yeah.
You're talking 3,000. It's not a matter of, he's had seasons 200. I'm looking at it right now. 201, 201, 240, 224, 251, 238, 218, 206 in a row. But sprinkled into there, it's what we're talking about. It's just everything's mapped out. It's like it's this preset. Oh, we're going to let you do your thing. You're going to let you do your thing, let you do your thing, let you do your thing. And then all of a sudden, until or unless, it's not a matter of, hey, we're going to go, this is your game. And the effect that you going out, taking the ball and just getting on it and getting after them is going to go and save your pen, is going to go and freshen guys up, is going to go and give those guys that little bit of extra, get your legs back under you. So now the next X amount of games moving forward, everyone's sharp. And that's not to discount another starter going deep. But it seems that it's shifted so far the other direction that the game you played it's not even comparable anymore to what's going on currently. And I think we've addressed that, but it's the question coming from that is it so contract related or so just scripted now, or what do you like? What do you equate that to? Because it has nothing to do with, I don't think it has anything to do with arm health, because you got guys that are eating up a lot of innings that are staying healthy. It's not like, oh, we've seen this drastic jump. It's almost worked the other way. We've backed off and the injuries have gone up.
Well, that's the absolute truth, is they've been doing this pitch count thing. We're going to cut down his injury. We're going to cut down his innings. We're going to do this and that. Look how that's going, everybody. It is not helping arms. It's actually hurting more arms, because you're not able to build up when you're going good and going strong. You're not able to build your arm up to withstand a tough outing where you're a little bit off and, you get a little more sore the next day. And that's the part that makes no sense to me. And that's where it all came from. It came from, well, we got to do pitch counts because arm injuries and this and that, we got to worry about. Let's see if that helps. How many decades are we going to do this before they actually, they're all about math. Why can't we use the mathematics and start looking at the percentage of guys that are getting hurt now compared to back in the day? And if you're going to pay a starting pitcher $30 million to throw 5 innings a game, what are you doing? If I was an owner and I said, I'll give you $30 million, dude, but guess what? You're going to average 8 innings a game, and we're going to go to a 4-man rotation, so you get 7 more starts this year too. You're going to throw 280 innings, so let's do it. That's the way it used to be. You're going to make $30 million. We're going to do it.
What made you good? We're 22, 21, 22 years removed from your last outing. You looking back, okay, not that you didn't do it while you were playing or since then. If you're going and you are someone else, right? Old John Smith, watching off the street or evaluating you, what made you who you were?
just keep plugging away, keep going. Next pitch, next pitch, next. Don't give up. Don't panic. Don't over adjust. Just keep going. And that's the whole mindset was, I'm going to be out here longer than the other pitcher. I'm going to win. I'm going to win this game. You just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And that was the mentality that I knew would be the last man standing. That was your whole goal.
Well, and then with the exception of the freak stuff in the back end of your career with what seemed to be a kind of a botched procedure, what can you equate I don't know if you ever thought about it, but what can you equate the durability side that you had that you were able to give, outing after outing? Was it routine related? Was it what can you, is it something you can pinpoint?
I mean, it was a bunch of things. It's just because, being allowed to throw that much, you gain strength. You gain, longevity strength because you're allowed to do that. And my preseason training was a lot of throwing to get ready. I used to throw 150 balls against the wall as hard as I could, shuffle and just throw the crud out of it, to get ready. I wanted to throw 150 as hard as I could, so I'd be ready to throw when spring training came. I'm ready. Let's go. 7 innings, first start. Let's do it. I didn't need to build up. You were built up and ready to roll, and that was the thing. You just kept going.
Because that's something that we look at, that we have all sorts of conversations because of what we talked about and because of what we've covered, pretty extensively today. There's all these new things that have come out to allow you, and I think there's some validity in some of it, right? If you go and you're looking, not saying overly overhauling a kid's delivery or a player's delivery, but if I can find something that makes their delivery efficient within the confines of, again, what allows their arm to work naturally, I feel like there's some importance, and there's some, there's if it's something that, hey, we're seeing something here, and because of X, Y, and Z that has been brought up, or that you've mentioned to trainers in the past, that we feel like it benefits you from a health standpoint, not, oh, it's going to make you do this or that. I feel like there's validity to it. But it's almost, when the way I look at it is, there's all these things there, but then it goes back to the same conversation we had. If we're doing all this for the benefit, why are all these injuries now here?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly what that answer ends up being, but it's it's something I get asked frequently, and it's just that, it's like, guys, the mental side of knowing the difference between hurt and not, pain and soreness, so on and so forth, is also one of those ones, because of what you're saying pitch count wise. And I'll say this, we watch it throughout our organization to make sure I'm not being the one who's going to get your son hurt by running him out here. And, oh, he only threw X amount, we're going to bring him back later today. You don't pitch in any level, you don't throw twice in a day. And if you do, like you're talking about, the only way I could validate that is if it's the other way around and you're getting paid some absurd amount of money and they ask you to do it. And I'd be like, well, hell, it seems like a fair trade. 30 million, throw twice in a day. Okay, watch that. Hell, I'll throw 5 times in a day if I needed to. But it's, we talk about all that. We talk about, an organization, but, what do you feel as far as it takes when you're looking at becoming elite? Because I always look, guys that have a lot of success at something, it's not a hobby, right? I don't know if you play golf or if you fish or if you do any of it. I don't play golf. When I go out, I suck. And here's the reason. If you don't go and, what you get really, really good at, you do frequently. If you want to get good at baseball, you wanted to get good at pitching. Obviously, you went Stanford and then on up, got to the show in a hurry and had a hell of a career from that. There's a little bit, and tell me if I'm wrong, there's a little bit of an addiction that it takes to become really, really, really good in a sport or in anything. Is that something, would you agree?
Yeah, you got to be, that has to be your life. You have to go for it, and you have to know it's what you do. I mean, from the time I was, I'd say 12, 13 years old, and, some of my friends would say, "Hey, I'm going skiing." I would say, no, not. I don't want to get hurt.
Yep.
I want to keep playing. I want to do this. And a lot of things that I passed up in my life that other people do that, I've watched athletes do now also. Then I go, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to take a chance of getting hurt.
Oh, the risk outweighs the reward in doing so extensively that, right. You're putting all this time in to go out. We're going to do something. And next thing you know, it costs you. It's a setback. It's just
don't want that.
And going back to the lesson part, because I feel like a lot of it's, really important and is really, really, really valid. We live in a world, right? And I feel like I know for a fact I'm guilty of it in certain ways. I'm not going to speak for you, but it may be the case with you as well. Amazon exists, right? And the only reason I bring that up is we look for the now, the immediate. It's the instant gratification on stuff. And baseball doesn't work that way. And I really feel, and I'm sure you have these conversations all the time, getting to something, if you're trying something new, we can't expect the immediate result, right? If we're going to try to work through, it's got to be, you're either working on something or we're looking to execute. We're looking for immediate success. It's really, really, it's rare. And you're going to you're setting yourself up for failure if you're looking for both to happen simultaneous.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. And a lot of times, guys are being taught a new pitch in spring training or something. Like, there's lessons. Yeah, you can teach a guy a new pitch because, oh, here, try to do this, and you get to mess around and do stuff with it, and see what's going to work rather than just having to do it full out, and max it out and all that. So, yeah, that's definite, it's work. It's long-term, run with it. Everything doesn't just click all the time. And that's the cool thing about coaching is in your head as a coach and as a guy doing lessons and stuff, exactly what you want to see out of the kid doing it. Say he's pitching and you want to see him finish a certain way, or hey, you're not getting, your foot's getting down too quick. You're not doing that. Well, sometimes, if they knew the timing, they would do it, but that feels right for them. So you got to try to trick their brain sometimes to get that look, to get what you want. So you go, hey, think about this. Think about trying to do this. Think about that. And you got to find the one that really triggers them to do the correct thing. So sometimes, it takes me a couple different times. Sometimes, I want to see this happen. And like, think about just getting out there and handing this ball to the catcher, just get out there, finish hard and hand it to him to try to get him in a certain position to do something. And, if that doesn't work, then you try something else, get them mentally to get themselves out there. Cause just telling them, hey, I want you to do this, 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 and this. Well, physically, sometimes kids are not going to have that feel for everything.
Well, no, nor can you expect them to. And I think it goes back to, the most basic piece of it. We want to create something. Everyone needs a contraption. Everyone needs a gimmick for stuff. And I feel like as basic as I can put it, for you to get a feel of pitching, I think it's fair to say we should probably go through and, you throw, you do some stuff to get that feel.
Yeah.
If we're going to have you hit, it may not be a half-ass bad idea to get you in there and, maybe swing a bat where you go through it and you do it a ton. Cause the one way for you to absolutely get a point across or be able to accomplish something is probably do it a whole heck of a lot. You go, you come in and you get talking to me, say I'm standing there on the mound in my present state, which wouldn't be good. And you're there, you're there watching my delivery, being around it and haven't done it thousands upon thousands of times. Odds are I'm going to be able to understand terminology. I'm going to be able to understand, some of the stuff that is you're seeing to be able to implement it. But until you're to that point, I struggle with it. And there's probably people listening here that have kids that have worked with doing it. There's a reason why I go about it a certain way, because if you're talking about getting guys, oh, hey, do this with your swing, or do that with your swing, or do this with your delivery when you're throwing, you haven't done it enough yet, or you haven't done it enough yet where your swing is repeatable enough for any of these adjustments that we're making to even make sense, or to get you on a mound pitch to pitch, then as opposed to a swing that's relatively, you got to adjust to certain pitches. If I'm getting you on a mound and you're throwing, it's going to change pitch to pitch based on what the heck you're throwing.
Oh yeah.
And that's the toughest part. And I think too, and another thing I'd ask you there is just what you see on your end, or what you can speak of, is almost advice, or not almost, is advice for parents in allowing stuff to play out. It doesn't have to happen immediately for it to end up happening, or for them to really get a grasp of it. And I almost feel like it's better when you do have that, oh crap moment that the kid has, but he doesn't say it.
Oh yeah. And the thing that the parents need to realize is what they say to their kids a lot of times has to do with physicality, and the kids knowing. If they knew their body, like you just talked about, if they knew their body so well and they knew their swing so well, oh, I need to do this a little. Okay, great. No, they're not there yet. They aren't going to be there for a long, long, long time. So what you do is you look at what you want the end result to be. You see that all, machine pitch. Okay, hey, Johnny, swing earlier. And then, then they're still, boom, foul it off over the first base dugout, that they're totally late, and you're going, okay, he doesn't realize that he's starting late and all this such. So what do? No, hey, little Johnny, don't swing earlier. See your third base coach over there? Drill a line drive off his shin. Oh, okay. And the kid will go, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then he gets out there in front of the ball. And people are like, how do you know that? I'm like, because I've been around baseball for a long time. It's you trick him into the end result rather than trying to tell him something physically that they don't know yet. Go to the end result. That's what you're looking for.
Man, one of the last things here too, before we wrap this all up, is it's funny how it pertains to certain things. And what I mean by that is, in baseball, it's got to be immediate. But if you and I, or you or whatever, anyone random was to go walk into a weight room, no one's expecting to say you throw a 45 on each side when you're, so you're benching or squatting. And then 2 weeks from now, you're going to be, you say you're benching 135. 3 weeks from now, you're going to roll in. We're going to throw 3 plates. You're going to have 315 on it. It's why? Because that wouldn't make sense. There's no way you're going to gain strength. That equates to other stuff as well. It's not just all of a sudden you come in, I meet with you for an hour, I meet with you for a half hour, and now all of a sudden, Jack's the miracle worker. You're going to go and we're going to part the Red Sea here. Now all of a sudden all the problems are going to go away. Something that took you 20, 30 years in being around it. And let's not discredit the genetic portion of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you want to be good, heck yeah. And you're going to get a ton more out of yourself. But let's not forget, use you for example. You're 6'5", 6'6", whatever you are, athletic, arm works. You have natural feel. You can't, there's an element of it. You can't teach. It's natural. It's why certain guys stick around and are so special in the highest levels in the major leagues and are able to do this stuff, because it takes a ton of work, but there's that element to it as well. And I feel like that's where everyone sets themselves up. I won't say everyone, let me back up. It's too strong. A lot of people set themselves up for frustration based on, oh, I saw this here. I saw that there. That's awesome. But we're taking out the human element. We're taking out the component of what the game actually does.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I cannot, can't thank you enough. It's huge. You do this stuff, you get it knocked out. Had you in Fort Worth. Every time we have you on here, this stuff is gold. I can't thank you enough again, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Would love to have you on again here at some point in the future.
All right. Sounds
all
good.
Right. Hey, Will do. Don't stress yourself now too much there the rest of the week or whatever you end up doing. If you're getting around that, getting around working on a little league field or whatever it is, man.
I'm getting in good shape. I'm pounding the Advil. I'll tell you that much. And there's no better. I'll tell you what, you can lift weights, you can do all this stuff, but I'll tell you what, shoveling dirt, and I always build a one that I can shuffle back and forth to get all the rocks out of the dirt and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a little like sifter type thing.
That's the best work you can do, man.
Man, I'll tell you what, and that I noticed it. I didn't say anything. That hat you got on is pretty sweet too.
Yeah, I just got this, the U.S. hat. I like it.
Well, looking good, man. We'll stay in touch. Stay, definitely, stay close by, and we'll be hollering at you. And as always, man, thanks again. Good talking to you.
All right. Take care, man.
You got it. Guys, huge. Jack McDowell, 3-time All-Star. Awesome dude. Let's leave it at that. 1993 Cy Young Award winner. It's been really cool since we've started this. Again, I've been able to bring on some really well-versed, well-rounded guys, especially if we're talking on the baseball side, of just an abundance of knowledge. We had them in Fort Worth not long ago. A lot of our players, a lot of our families, outsiders came in, fired away questions. That's him. That's him to a T. Awesome guy. Got to spend a bunch of time went out to dinner, hung out a bit, did all that. But again, cannot thank him enough for coming on. The value, the experience, and all that does, man, is it just stacks the credit or credential portion on top. He's not making it up. It's all there. Stuff that's said. And the game hasn't changed. The game hasn't changed that much. I feel like they try to. You got to add some stuff, try to add some validity to points that are made, but there's certain ways of throwing, certain way. The double play hasn't changed, if you want to use that for example. But again, can't thank him enough. Jack McDowell coming on the Greg Holle show. Kristen Holle Realty, getting back to our sponsors here. The market is sizzling, right? You can almost, if I take this thing off, even though my ears are on fire from my headphones, but you can hear it. It's like bacon cooking. That's how hot the market is right now. 817-808-9464 is the number to call. Give it a whirl any time of day, you name it. If it's too late, the only thing that happens is you won't answer the phone. But outside of that, 6 a.m., we'll get this thing rocking and rolling, pick it up. Buying, selling, negotiating contracts. Hey, if you're new investments, you got a little something rolling around, you're wanting to get in here, you're wanting to flip, you want to get some renters in there, let's do it, man. She does it all. Another big month for to become one of Fort Worth's top producers here. Number one in the old Fort Worth office this month. Keep it going, babe. All right. I definitely appreciate you supporting the show. The Healthy Insurance dude, Perry Lunsford, 817-205-6257 is the number to call. Lock in your rate. Nowhere else, right? Being both of us are privately employed. I spoke to my wife earlier. There's nowhere else to go, right? Our family and tons of others know there's no other route. The insurance process is brutal. I get 17 calls a day. I'm sure this bad boy has been blowing up during the show here, where I get the automation or someone is there with my best interest at heart. They're there for me. They've never met me. They say my name wrong. Hi, I'm looking for Mr. Hall. Good. I'm here to save the day with health insurance. It's already taken care of, though, because the Healthy Insurance dude, Perry Lunsford, has come in like he's almost like Batman coming in to save the day. When I get going, they call me, right? I hear from these guys. I get on. They end up buying insurance from Perry. They call me to sell me their insurance. I give them the rundown of what Perry has to offer. They call me back in their personal cell phone and get it done. Let Perry be the guy, 817-205-6257. Got bugs? You got rats? Everyone does. Not anymore. Not with Robbie Tucker with Chemtech Pest Control. Ride into town like a knight in shining armor, and rather than a sword and a shield, he has his pet-friendly spray and granules he can get around your yard. I haven't seen a bug in the last 11 years. I mean it. You don't believe me? I'll give you my address. You can swing by the facility. There's none to be found. Chemtech Pest Control, Robbie Tucker, 817-489-5500. Big thanks again to Hiley Buick GMC, Fort Worth Cosmetic and Family Dentistry, Kristen Holle Realty, the healthy insurance dude, Perry Lunsford, and then our pest control knight in Shining Arbor, Robbie Tucker with Chemtech. That's all the time I got for y'all today. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday at 1 p.m. each and every Wednesday. That's Central Time. If you go hit me up here at 2, right at 2 o'clock, I'm not going to be there. You got to go. Know where you're at. If you're on the East Coast, 2 p.m. Any of the other ones, you get with it, make it happen. Big thanks again to former Cy Young winner, 3-time All-Star Jack McDowell for coming on and making this stuff happen. God bless our police, military, firefighters, and first responders, and God bless the greatest country there is, the United States of America. My name is Greg Holle, and I want to thank each of you for your time today. So long from Fort Worth, Texas.
He said, is this really where you've been for the last few days? Hell yeah, it is. Is that all you gotta say?